The very last thing he remembered was walking in the hallway and get close to the door to open it with his cold eyes. That made him dumbfounded by seeing something which changed his life completely in an unexpected way. Like every day, Kiyomi-kun was enjoying his high school life. When his friend Honda got close and called him by saying "Hey bro, what's up?" and said, "This is the game I was talking about yesterday and wanted to show you. It's great to play and you should try it also." Kiyomi thanked his friend. He looked at Nanju and said, "She is hanging out with another guy again, huh? The girl with a bad reputation and is known for the dirty rumors that surround her." As Kiyomi and Honda were talking with each other about these dirty rumors, another drama continued when the girl standing in front of them turned around and looked at them with serious gazes, thinking and saying in a taunted way, "Maybe not with everyone. Kiyomi and Honda are losers and good for nothing. If you do it with them then they won't stop following you." Both of them accepted this harsh reality of what the girls said. There's nothing to deny about it. Ending his conversation, Honda went back to his seat. Kiyomi thought about Nanju-san and said, "I don't give a damn and have nothing to do with her at all." But truth to be told, he thought for a moment that Nanju is beautiful and if she had black hair then she could be her dream girl. He said to himself, no, stop, don't be an idiot. She and I can't get along and she is not my type either. The school was over. Kiyomi was about to head home when remembered that he had forgotten the game back in the classroom that Honda lent him today. Walking in the hallway all alone with his cold dead gaze, he immediately opened the door and got dumbstruck by seeing how Nanju-san is getting fucked up in the classroom. Kiyomi's brain overloaded by the scene in front of him. Without a second thought, he closed the door again. Kiyomi tried to process the situation in his poor overloaded brain and think. It couldn't be true that Nanju-san is using the classroom to fucked up. With wonder and a shocked face, he slowly opens the door again to look and analyze the situation in front of him again. On top of that, the cherry on the cake, they are using his seat to fuck up. After the guy was done with Nanju-san, he left as fast as he could, saying sorry to Kiyomi by bumping into him. Nanju with her prying eyes looked at Kiyomi and said, you are Kiyomi, right? You ruined the entire scene and thanks to you the guy ran away, so instead of that guy, would you like to continue the fun with me where that guy left off? Before things moved any further, Kiyomi mustered up his courage and said something that made Nanju completely surprised and dumbstruck. Even in wonder she thought, what? With a serious face and cold gaze he looked at Nanju-san and said, leaving that aside, can you move away from my seat? She apologized and said, sorry, my bad. Kiyomi put his hand in a pocket and brought out wet tissue papers from his pocket. With lightning speed he started to wipe and clean off the dirt of Nanju-san from his desk. Watching him cleaning with such speed, even Nanju dumbfoundedly asked, what are you, a cleaning freak, huh? Kiyomi adjusted his glasses and replied yes, saying this is normal for me and that was gross and ugly what you did. Just like Marin Kitagawa-san, Nanju said in surrender way, sorry, and did you want to go to Love Hotel or somewhere else to continue the pleasure where we left off? But Kiyomi sighed a relief after finding the game that Honda lent him. Kiyomi left like a brave survivor, saying sorry for ruining your pleasure plans and goodbye. Forcing Nanju-san P's brain to process the situation. The gal stands stiff like a statue in surprise to think what just happened and who is this guy that rejected me. Our brave survivor Kiyomi went back to the shoe locker to grab his shoes and head home, thinking that the rumors surrounding that girl were true. As she doesn't care who she really is with, but this has nothing to do with me. Without knowing, a storm like Virgil has approached him from behind. Nanju used the legendary wall slam anime move on our brave survivor and cornered him by saying, hey, we need to talk for a minute. Kiyomi asked, yes, do you need something from me? Like a surrender, Nanju shouted and busted out in anger, saying, why did you go off and ignore me like that? I told you that we can do it together. Kiyomi said, no thanks, even if you want to, I won't do it. And I won't do it, especially with you who is involved in so many people's lives. Kiyomi's words hit like solid punches to Nanju-san's heart. When he expressed that I'm inexperienced in love matters, and I would prefer to do it with someone as inexperienced as me, and finally expressed by saying her, sorry, but you are not my type at all. I like black hair and neat girls. Like Todo Madoka-san, my favorite character from the Sparkling Memories game. And left without knowing that he set a dangerous red flag that would change his life forever. For Nanju, she can't believe her ears and eyes that she got rejected by someone in her life. After reaching home, Kiyomi started playing his favorite game Sparkling Memories with his favorite character Madoka and said deep in his heart, if I wanted to date someone then it should be like Madoka. Regarding Nanju-san, she is too flashy and not my type. The next day at high school, Kiyomi life turned upside down when he said I would be charmed by black girl. And his wish was granted unexpectedly. When a girl with black hair walked past him, Kiyomi's gaze became fixed and he said deep in his heart, someone like her. Kiyomi couldn't keep up and dumbfoundedly said huh in wonder. In his mind, he asked himself, was there a girl like her in our class? And said she is the girl of his dreams, an ideal woman with black hair that he dreamed about. The girl looked at him and said, so that is your seat huh? And said good morning to you. Kiyomi felt it like a dream come true for a moment. Instantly he looked down and became disappointed, saying, oh, it's you, Nanju-san. She looked at Kiyomi in surprise and asked, what's with your reaction? Are you free now? There is something I want to talk about with you. Kiyomi went with her and she began with a magic girl pose, saying, it's like how you said it, Kiyomi-kun, I'm black hair and a neat girl, right? Kiyomi looked at her, fixed his glasses and exasperated, thinking about the definition of neat girl for Nanju-san, and said, please don't address me without using honorifics. Nanju energetically said, look, I have buttoned up my shirt properly today. Kiyomi was speechless and thought about what to say to her. He asked Nanju, why did you went so far to this extreme for him? She said, because it's the first time someone has rejected me. So I decided to make you fall in love with me and experience how it feels to sleep with a guy who rejected me. Kiyomi was like, what did you say, sleep with me huh? And he left off saying, sorry, I won't do it. Nanju called him and said, wait, don't go, listen. But he was gone, making Nanju so much angrier that she pouted like a cute loli and decided that she wouldn't give up that easily on him, and began to stalk Kiyomi like a Yandere girl, whether it's lunchtime or even changing for physical exercise class or even in the toilet. Getting tired of this drama, Kiyomi decided to finally clear out things with Nanju-san by saying, why are you persistent? Nanju answered, because she wanted to do it with you. Kiyomi declined and said, I'm not interested in this dirty stuff, and said it would be better if you act more like a normal person. Kiyomi's anger touched its peak and he said, maybe I'm saying weird things that don't make sense, but a girl like you who did it with a lot of guys is more weirder and crazier than me. His words hit like a dagger on Nanju-san's heart as she was about to burst out in tears at any moment when he said, do those guys are your partners even like you? Kiyomi continued and said, I know what type of girl you are and you want me to do that thing with you. Aren't you doing this just to satisfy your lust? Nanju's heart was hurt by his words and she kept silent, grabbing her other arm to stop and control her emotions. Kiyomi became silent after seeing tears in her eyes and thought he had gone too far that he wanted to, and left off by saying, it's better if you start and keep a healthy relationship with someone you love. Tears rained down from her eyes and she only said, I know what you mean. After Kiyomi left, two other guys walked in and got close to Nanju-san. The guy complimented Nanju and said, this black hair looks good on you and like a trash bag. He said, yesterday we were interrupted and do you want to do it now? Kiyomi thought about her and said she had a troubled personality and she couldn't change her personality that easily. Then he heard a voice when saying no to someone. Kiyomi turned around to look at Nanju-san. The guy looked at her more closely and said, are you mad about yesterday? But she said, no, I don't want to do this stuff anymore. The guy said in anger, what's wrong with you, worthless piece of trash woman? Nanju was looking at the guy in shock and fear when he said, you were so happy yesterday when we did it. Now you wasting my time and messed up my plan of pleasure. Nanju thought to say something and deceive him by laughing. And if not, then she would experience the same thing that she experienced in the past. The guy looked at her, smirked, and said, are you going to cry huh? You are not that woman who would cry. Now tell me what happened. If you want to cry, do it later. Kiyomi called Nanju-san and asked, are you still here? He looked at the guy and said, Arai-sensei from civic guidance class was looking for you. The guy believed Kiyomi's words and left by saying, Arai is one crazy teacher, let's go. Kiyomi and Nanju watched as the guy made his exit. Kiyomi knew he lied and the teacher didn't call them. He apologized and said, are you okay? And it happened because I said many unnecessary things. But Nanju said something and told Kiyomi his story of why she acts like this. She said, during middle school I have a reserved personality and didn't have any friends either. For a fresh start in high school, I changed my appearance and one of my senpai confessed to me that on the same day, he forced her to have sex with him, and if I didn't do it then he would break up with me. For that reason, I did things like this, which made every guy around me happy, but all girls of my class became cold to me. And she knows it's weird, but I'm also afraid that they will ignore me if I don't do it. Tears ran down from her eyes as she expressed what I should do, and I didn't know what to do anymore. I just want to have a normal romantic love relationship. Kiyomi replied, you could have normal love if you want to. And said you are cute, but Nanju said you like black-haired girls, right? Kiyomi replied yes and expressed you were still cute even before and taunted her like a bookworm, saying whether you change your hair color or style you are still not my type. which made Nanju angry. She clenched her fist and said in rage, "What did you say, Four Eyes?" As she expressed in anger, "How can you say that, and you are saying many weird things a lot recently." Nanju finally said, "Now take responsibility. You have played a lot of dating sims and must have a ton of experience in romance, right? So take my responsibility." And Nanju expressed it like this: "Oh great Lord Kiyomi of dating sim, deliver your salvation and wisdom to this lost lamb and teach me how to live a normal life. And I want you, Kiyomi, to be my boyfriend." At that moment Kiyomi's heart was touched by her words. He looked at Nanju's desperate face and moved his hand forward, blushing and saying like a robot, "I don't know what I'm doing." Somehow Kiyomi got hold of himself and said deep in his heart, "I can't tell her that I was about to touch her hair." Looking down at the stairs without knowing why his heart was beating so fast like a race car engine, he replied by saying, "Please take care of me as your boyfriend." The next day Nanju showed up and got close to Kiyomi, saying in an annoyed tone, "Hey, why did you leave yesterday without me? And I thought we could go home together after school." Kiyomi said, "I don't remember making that promise to you." Kiyomi looked at Nanju and she expressed in a little bit angrier tone, "If you want to go out, then at least tell me to go with you." She looked at Kiyomi and charmed him with her affectionate innocent eyes. His heart started to beat faster just by looking into her eyes. Kiyomi knows that he is dating, but he considers it more like child's play and not. And said deep in his heart, "Don't get carried away, and I know she will lose interest and leave me someday." Out of a sudden, Kiyomi turned around and looked at Nanju in surprise. She asked, "What?" He replied, "You have dyed your hair, right? Why not change it back to how it was before?" She looked at Kiyomi, smiled with striking a pose and said, "Didn't you like girls with black hair? Even though I hate black hair color, I won't easily give up on you." Like a bumpkin, Kiyomi asked in surprise, "What are you talking about?" Like a lover, Nanju explains by getting close and saying in his ear what she means. Kiyomi acted like a scaredy cat, adjusted his glasses and said, "Why are you still hooked on that idea?" And expressed that's not what someone would do in normal romance. The class was about to start. Before going back, Nanju smiled and said, "Let's go home today together, and now it's a promise, right?" And left, sending shivers down in Kiyomi's spine with her love, making him believe that his everyday life is going to change. He took a deep breath and got a hold of himself, saying, "Don't get carried away. My daily life won't change, and I'm sure of it." The school was over. Nanju walked out with Kiyomi, thinking that if we were going for a normal romance, then why not go on a date this weekend? Kiyomi said, "I don't mind, but there's a problem that I don't have anything to wear for the date." Nanju dumbfoundedly asked why. He said, "I don't hang out too much and I usually wear a jersey, shorts, or tracksuit at home, and the best option that I have is a t-shirt with a Madoka picture on it." Nanju forced her pea-brain to think and got an idea. She smiled naughtily and said it like a demon girl, "Then let's go there." And took him with her to the shopping center to buy clothes for Kiyomi from her favorite place. Kiyomi came but had no clue what to buy for himself. Nanju said, "If you don't mind, I will buy clothes for you," and decided to also buy something matching for herself for the date. Kiyomi said, "I don't know if it would go well with me or not." Nanju came out from the dressing room and asked, "Let me see how it looks on you," and asked, "Do you liked it or not?" Kiyomi was unsure about it. And they continued with shopping to see which one looked best on them. Is it this or that one? In the end, Kiyomi said, "Let's give up and go home." Nanju deeply thought in her brain and said, "Okay." She looked at him and said, "Let's go there, but wait a little bit, let me change my clothes first." In the middle of changing her clothes, she poked her head out from the dressing room curtain, called Kiyomi, and said, "Let's buy these clothes," and asked him if he could ask the store clerk to cut the tags from these clothes. Before Nanju could finish her sentence, the cat got her tongue when she saw a guy who insulted her walking past behind from Kiyomi. With force, she instantly pulled him inside the dressing room, saying, "Come in immediately." Kiyomi's face almost made contact and about to get hit with her melons. But Nanju didn't mind this contact. She was worried and scared about why that guy appeared here. Looking at her melons, Kiyomi said, "I should be the one saying that." Nanju said, "Do you remember, these guys are the ones who insulted me yesterday, and what are they doing in the shop? And I can't see them clearly like this." Nanju sighed in relief after the guy left. But Kiyomi's face turned red like a tomato thanks to Nanju's scent, and he was so close to get hit by her chest before that happened. He said, "Can I leave now?" Nanju looked at his bright red face. A strange feeling began to bloom inside in her chest. With T's and P's brain, she answered, "Oh, so you want to do this stuff here?" Kiyomi used Zenitsu lightning speed and ran away as fast as he could, saying no to her. He turned around and looked at her in an annoyed way when she said, "I'm just kidding." But Kiyomi said to close the curtains or someone will see your body like this. His words made Nanju snap back into reality. She immediately closed the curtains and said in embarrassment, "I'm sorry." Kiyomi adjusted his glasses and said it's not like I care about Nanju if she shows her underwear to some other guy, but in reality, he was blushing looking at her. The next place that Nanju takes him to is the hair salon. The dresser looks at Kiyomi and says, "Is this cutie your boyfriend? I never expected that you would get such a good boyfriend." The dresser looks at Kiyomi's cute face and goes into seventh heaven by saying he is too simple and cute. Nanju explains that it's her favorite beauty salon that she always goes to, and today they don't have any busy schedules, so I thought why not bring you here. Kiyomi asked, "Did you always came here?" She replied, "Not always, because I cut my hair by myself." Kiyomi was surprised about what she said and further expressed, "You don't have to worry about anything besides Issei-kun is an expert in this task." Issei energetically said, "Leave everything to me." Kiyomi removed his glasses and said, "I don't think that it would make much difference in my personality." But Issei comforts him and says that's not true. Only unconfident people say that, and further express, "Trust me and I will make you shine as a professional." Looking at Kiyomi's new appearance, Nanju can't keep up and says energetically, "You look so handsome, and thanks Issei-kun, you are a genius." Issei and Nanju asked Kiyomi, "Could you see without your glasses?" He replied, "Just a little bit." She decided to go and buy a pair of contact lenses for him later. Nanju was hyped and said to Kiyomi, "Let's quickly take a commemorative photo." And all three of them strike up a group pose to make this day memorable in their memory, especially when posing like a newlywed couple. Nanju went head over heels with her in Kiyomi's last photo, saying cheerfully like a loli, "This picture is so good and I'm going to make it my phone wallpaper." She also sent a copy of the picture to Kiyomi. Looking at his picture, Kiyomi never thought just a simple change in hairstyle could make him look that much changed. He excused Nanju and Issei to think for a moment and thought he said deep in his heart that he knew he would never change that much, but I gave up without even trying it and never thought that I could change, and said if I put little bit effort maybe I can do it. Amazed by his new appearance, Kiyomi thanked Nanju for this change, making her blush and so much hyped up that her heart beat so much fast that she can't keep up the excitement and hide it anymore. Issei requested Kiyomi to sat on the seat so he can give a final touch to his hair. Like a good boy, he sat down. For Nanju-san, she can't handle this excited feeling and ran away by saying, "I'm going to the toilet." After she left, Issei whispered and told Kiyomi something about Nanju-san, that before high school started she came to here and requested him to change her appearance. Back then she got much happier by making her hair dyed to blonde without thinking twice. And after that, she can't even believe that it's her. And back then her recent request quite surprised me when she said to dye her hair to black color, and maybe she didn't like blonde anymore. Kiyomi remembered what Nanju said to him in the past when she said, "I don't like black hair color, but I would do this and I won't easily give up on you." Kiyomi reached a conclusion and said, "Oh, I see," and requested Issei to do something with his hair. The next day Nanju-san was dumbstruck by looking at Kiyomi and asked him in wonder what happened, and why you went back to how you were before. Kiyomi replied and said, "I think my old style better suits me." Nanju wanted to say something, and Kiyomi replied, "It's okay, and I wanted to see you in your blonde hair again." She wanted to say something, but he expressed, "It's true that I like black hair girls, but it doesn't mean that I like my game waifus Madoka because of her black hair color. I like her because of her charming personality." And said, "That's how I started to admire black and neat girls as my ideal woman." She replied, "Then black hair is just fine, right?" Kiyomi expressed and spoke from the bottom of his heart, saying, "It's not about if you have black hair or not." She asked, "Then what is it now?" He replied, "I don't want you to try so hard to please me and to match my taste," and replied by saying, "Nanju-san, I truly think that you are charming and I want you to do things that you like the most." His words impacted Nanju, as she felt like a cupid arrow piercing her heart, making her remember an event of past when someone in his past said the same thing to her. Nanju-san asked him, "So if I dye my hair back you won't say that you are breaking up with me, right?" He replied, "I won't do such a thing." Nanju looked at her hair and replied, "Is that so? No one in my entire life has said something like this to me." The very next day it happened. With her energetic smile she cheerfully expressed with her blonde hair, "I'm back." She looked at Kiyomi and he was looking down thinking about his black hair waifu. She looked at him and asked, "Why you look disappointed?" He replied, "It's nothing like this," and expressed in a low gentle voice looking at her and saying, "This is more like you and you look good and beautiful like this." Nanju grabbed her chest to control her feelings and said, "Please don't say things like this out of blue." He didn't understand what she meant. Nanju got close to Kiyomi and asked, "Right, we bought new clothes, didn't we?" He replied, "Yes we did." Deep in his heart, he said to himself, "I never thought that my life would take such a huge turn." Then Nanju suggested, "Why not go on a date right now?" The next day outside of the train station, Kiyomi was waiting for Nanju-san because today was the day of his promise, and it was almost time for his date with Nanju. He was a little bit nervous because it was his first time to date a girl. Without knowing deep in his heart, he asked himself why going out with Nanju felt like a love game to him. He was drowned so deep in his thoughts he couldn't hear Nanju-san's voice. She came by rushing to him saying sorry for the wait, but Kiyomi was drowned in his thoughts. Reaching close to him, she apologized saying, "You see, I missed the train and ran all the way over here, and thanks to that my entire body is now covered with sweat." Nanju started to fan herself with her hand. Like a scaredy cat, Kiyomi overreacted after accidentally seeing her chest when she was fanning her sweaty body. Nanju looked at his overreacted expression and thought for a moment about his reaction in her pea's brain and smiled naughtily to tease and enjoy Kiyomi's reaction a little bit more. She began to tease Kiyomi by showing him a little bit of her big melons by saying in a cheerfully teasing tone, "Wanna have a look at these melons and you are free to touch them. Take it as an apology from me for showing up late like a brave warrior." Kiyomi sighed and said, "Nah, I'm fine," which shocked her. For Kiyomi, he thought in his mind that Nanju used to hang out with a lot of extrovert guys and it was natural that she isn't ready for this reaction by me. She may have a great time with me, but as time passes by she will lose interest in me. Kiyomi called him and replied in a worried tone, "Hey, people around you are looking at you, cover yourself a little bit." She asked him, "Do you hate that people will see me?" Kiyomi replied, "I don't know what other people think, but it would be bad if they stared at you like that." Nanju asks, "Why did you brought an umbrella with you?" Kiyomi is silent because she is going to find out soon about the umbrella's purpose. Out of the blue, lightning strikes the ground and a sudden heavy rain starts. Nanju becomes dumbstruck saying in wonder, "What rain?" Kiyomi said the weather forecast predicted rain this morning. Nanju said in a jaw-drop and worried tone, "Really? But I didn't bring an umbrella with me." She made a pout in anger and said, "The rain is ruining our first date." She looked at Kiyomi and said, "You have combed your hair today?" He replied, "I was about to head out in my usual look and hairstyle, but mom stopped me and said, 'Are you going out like that? Don't you have a date today? Let me help you in getting you ready up," and apologized to Nanju for troubling herself for changing his appearance. Nanju asks, "Why are you apologizing and saying it like this?" She smiles like an era and cheerfully expresses that this outfit looks good on you, and it's natural to wear what suits you better, and it makes me happy to see this version of you. Nanju-san's words strike like a cupid arrow in Kiyomi's heart, making him blush in front of her. Changing the subject, she asked from Kiyomi, "So where should we go today? I thought about an amusement park, but the rain had ruined that plan." Then they decided why not to go for shopping. She looked at Kiyomi and said in a cheerful and happy tone, "Well then, I'm in your care." Kiyomi didn't understand what she meant and processed what she said in his brain. They pass close to a store and Kiyomi says, "You can buy an umbrella from here," but Nanju replies, "It's fine and I wanted to walk together with you like this." She asks, "Don't you like sharing an umbrella with me? There must be plenty of events like this in the game." Kiyomi said yes there are, and even his favorite character Madoka also did that. Nanju smiled as she thought of another naughty idea in her bird brain. She looked at Kiyomi and said, "You look excited as you are walking close to me." She turned around, used her secret couple technique, got close to Kiyomi, and grasped his arm with her hands and melons saying, "You mean something like this?" Kiyomi looked at her and freaked out and moved away from her saying, "What are you doing?" She replied, "Hey, stop, I will get wet from the rain." The drama ended between them and both of them started to just walk with each other. Kiyomi said, "I don't like being touched that much." Nanju said, "It's my bad, after all you said before that you were a cleaning addict." She looked at blushed and shy Kiyomi and said, "Since we are dating, why don't you try to get used to it? And we can do it all day if you want." But Kiyomi replies, "Stop, don't touch me." Nanju thinks about it and got a solution for this problem. She touched his shirt with her hand and asked, "Is it okay like this?" He looked at her face in thinking and she replied while acting like a cheerful little girl, "Look, I'm not touching you directly, am I?" Kiyomi blushed even more and said, "I'm fine with this much touch." She looked at Kiyomi and was enjoying his cute, innocent blushed side. Kiyomi looked at her and asked where she wanted to go. She replied, "I don't care where we go, and she is fine with anywhere she goes with him." He looked at her and asked where you normally visited most. To answer such a difficult question, Nanju thought for some time and replied, "Well, before I used to visit karaoke or net cafe." Listening about net cafe, he said, "This is a real surprise to me, and do you read manga also?" Discussing net cafe, Nanju said, "We could go to the private room, and why not do some naughty stuff there?" Kiyomi shot down the entire idea and said, "No, we would disturb other people." Making a chibi face, she replied, "You are right and sorry." Nanju forced her poor brain to think where to visit and thought why not to go to the hotel. Kiyomi again shot down the idea and said stop, I will pick up the place by myself. Kiyomi began to think and said deep in his heart it would be easy if this was a dating game, and began to think more deeply than the last time, and finally he knew where to go and take her to his favorite place, Animedo. She was looking around and her gaze got fixed on Kiyomi's favorite game, Sparkling Memories. Nanju walked close to it and pick a copy, Sparkling Memories, asking Kiyomi, this is the game you like, right? The characters are so cute, especially the one in the middle. Kiyomi said that one is the most popular character of the game, and she is also the heroine of this game and she got a lot of attention from fans. But Kiyomi wants Madoka to be treated equally. No, I want all of them to be treated equally. Nanju said you sure are chatty when it comes to the game. He apologized and said I suppose this wasn't the right choice. She thought and asked what he meant by choice. He asks Nanju-san, do you play games? She said yes, I do sometimes, and he asked so did you find this all boring? Nanju replied it's not like that, and I'm happy that you are showing me what you like, and said I haven't had a date like this before and it is fun trying something new. Her words again strike on Kiyomi hard and melted it, by making it beat faster than last time and making Kiyomi blush again. Deep in his heart he thinks, so Nanju-san do take interest in me. I thought she was just hanging out with me because I'm not extroverted like others whom she used to date in the past, and now she found this is something new for her, which means she didn't hate to hang out with me. The iceberg in Kiyomi's heart has melted, causing him to develop feelings for Nanju. He looked at her and thought, is she really having fun with me? In a down and timid voice, he asked Nanju, why don't we go somewhere you like? Taking his request in mind, she began to think about where I would like to go next with him. Kiyomi said we can go anywhere you like except a love hotel. She began to dwindle in her thoughts to think where to head next, and then they visited one of the buildings for sightseeing. From the top of the building they look around her surroundings and said it's foggy because of the rain, isn't it? She called Kiyomi to come closer and take a look at the scenery. Or are you afraid of heights? Kiyomi came closer saying in surprise and wonder, I never thought that you like these kinds of places. She said I have many good memories of this place. Remembering her beautiful memories, she expressed that I came here with my family when I was a child, and it brings back a lot of memories with the view as great as it was back then. She expressed further and said since back then I didn't have friends, I just hang out with my family, but when I entered high school everything changed without knowing where to go. Even my family asked me where I go and what are my hobbies nowadays, but I couldn't tell about the incidents that revolve around me and lied. But today I can tell them where I went with you and how much fun I had today. She looked at Kiyomi, replied cheerfully and loudly, today was a blast as I really enjoy spending time with you on the date. Hearing her words, Kiyomi's mood shifted as he began to smile and says you seem to be in good terms with your family, and began to think in his mind that she truly appreciates her family. Nanju was dumbstruck by seeing a sight to behold that Kiyomi smiled today. She asked, did this family talk bothers you? He replied no. She looked close at his face and said in worried tone, you look kinda puzzled. He said because today I'm surprised by seeing your good side, and further said you really are a good girl who cared about her family, making her surprised so much that she was about to went in the seventh sky by his out of blue praises. In her blushed and embarrassed state, she only spoke his name without knowing what else to say next. Looking at her, Kiyomi thought deep in his heart that maybe she is experiencing these new moments. Just like the surprising things I was thinking about. The most surprising thing about this situation is that I felt happy too after seeing her good points. Nanju-san blushed and said you sure know when to say things like to make my heart skip a beat. Thanks to Kiyomi, Nanju-san remembered something that she almost forgot about. She wanted to give something special to Kiyomi. She looked in her purse and brought out what she bought from the store, and it was a Madoka keychain from his favorite game. And said since she was so cute I bought another one, now we have a matching pair from our first date. The fact that Nanju-san bought it for him touched his heart, making him blush with her generous act. He thanked her in a low voice. She looked at him and asked, don't you like matching ones? He replied saying that's not the case. Nanju held her breath to listen what he was about to say. Kiyomi looked at her and thought, should I say it or not, or how should I tell her? He replied by saying her that she is not Madoka. Making Nanju-san dumbstruck and jaw drop with her answer, she replied, what? But I thought this is Madoka because of her black hair. Kiyomi cleared her confusion and told her she is another character with black hair from his game. She apologized and said my surprise is ruined, I should have asked you. But Kiyomi replied we can go with it since you bought it for me. Nanju said, but it's not your favorite character. Kiyomi replied and says, that's true, however you picked it out for me, and you were thinking about the things that I like most, which made me happy. Hearing words like that made her so happy that they almost touched her heart. Somehow Nanju destroyed the entire mood between him and her by saying, wanna do it here, making Kiyomi blush and shy, saying, you ruined the moment. He said, why not put these keychains on our bags? She said, okay. Nanju creates a mood again by saying, wanna go to the amusement park next time, then we can buy matching items again. Kiyomi says, we don't have to buy matching items all the time for a date. Nanju expresses, I want to have a bunch of matching keyholders in my bag, so from now on let's visit a bunch of other places together. Without thinking twice, Kiyomi said, yes, I'm looking forward next time, and I want to know more about you, Nanju-san. She expressed in a cheerful and energetic tone by saying, it was the first time that I talked so much on a date, so this is how a normal date feels. She said, thanks for making my day wonderful and enjoyable. I'm glad I went out with you, Kiyomi expressed with a smile by saying, I feel the same way. And let's go somewhere else the next time. The rain stopped and the sky has cleared. A rainbow appeared in the sky, making the scene more beautiful for them. The next day in high school during break time, Nanju-san and Kiyomi were having lunch on the school staircase. Nanju looked at Kiyomi and asked, hey, do you have free time after school? He replied, yes, I'm free tomorrow. Nanju-san went head over heels by his reply in the seventh sky, making him astonished. She said, tomorrow my parents are going out from home and I will be all alone in the home. He asked why not to go out with them. She replied saying, I have school tomorrow and I think my parents also deserve some privacy, right? She leaned close to Kiyomi and said, so would you come or not? He freaked out and said, you are too close and I can easily hear you. She asked, is it too close, and apologized saying, sorry, my bad. Kiyomi answered her previous request saying, I don't mind coming to your place. Still, I won't do what you expect me to do with you, she said in a flirtatious and naughty tone and asked, what am I expecting from you? Sending shivers again in Kiyomi's spine. He agreed and said, all right, I got it. Changing the subject, she asked from him, is it all right if I eat with you during lunchtime? He asked what did she mean by that. She replied and said, you have friends, right? Kiyomi said, you mean Honda-kun? She said, yes, your friend Honda. She asked, did you eat your lunch with him before? Kiyomi replied, no, we always eat lunch separately. She asked his reason, and he explained, making Nanju-san jaw drop when he told her that Honda was with her girlfriend in another class, and he eats with her during lunchtime. After learning this revelation, she blurted out saying in surprise and wonder, I never expect that he had a girlfriend. Kiyomi said that you are talking rudely about my friend, and said if you don't like something, says it, you don't have to worry about these trivial things. She smiled, looked at him and said okay. Meanwhile, the next day, Kiyomi was upset because for some reason Nanju-san couldn't make it today at school. During the class, he brought out his phone and texted her asking why didn't she come today. She replied, I'm in bed due to a high fever. He asked her further, are you feeling okay? If not, then I will buy something for you after school. Kiyomi message brightens up her mood. She replied and said, thank you for the help. As a reward you can do naughty things with me in my sleep. Her last message ruined the Kiyomi mood. He replied by saying, seems like you are fine right now. I won't come now and just rest, please, to get better till tomorrow. He ended the conversation with her and said, good grief, what to do with a girl like her. The school was over. Kiyomi was about to go home. Before leaving, he thought to text Nanju-san and asked her, are you feeling alright or not? Kiyomi looked at the clock and thought, well, she's sleeping right now. Feeling worried about her, Kiyomi remembered that Nanju-san was home alone today without her parents. Thinking about what she told him, he felt worried sick about her, and went straight to her home to check on Nanju-san. With sweat covering his face in nervousness, now he was standing in front of her door thinking that he said he won't come, but he ended up coming here. He knocked at door and Nanju-san opened the door and came out wearing night clothes.